Bills Mafia, we have got to be honest about something. Our defensive back room, our defense, it's not perfect. We're not going to go into this year winning these low-scoring slugfests anymore, right? But everyone's talking about those holes, but the Buffalo Bills have quietly built a monster, even last season, but even going into this season, that it doesn't seem like anybody's really talking about. And last season, Josh Allen had the cleanest pockets in the entire NFL and even the entirety of his own career. And if this offense repeats its dominance, it could be the difference between packing our bags in January or going home and pushing through to get the Lombardi. But what's good, Mafia? My name's Con. This is Crack the Table. We're all Bills and no breaks. If you love daily Buffalo Bills talk and you're a diehard fan, make sure to hit the like, subscribe, and put a comment below today. I've got a couple questions coming up here, but I reply to every single comment, and we are just growing, shooting up like a weed in this channel. We got a lot of people coming in, and I'm pumped about that. I love the Bills Mafia. I love football. The weather's great outside, and it is going to be an incredible fall of football. But hey, let's talk about why this offensive line might be the one thing that ultimately separates us as the Buffalo Bills from the rest of the AFC. The first thing I want to get talking about here was really just how the offensive line is going to have to come in and drive the bus for us in 2025. Last year, they did it. The defense is going to give up some yards. We know that. We've got just some questions with our defensive backs, and that's going to leak yards, and it's going to leak points throughout the year. And that's okay. I guess that's part of football. I've really appreciated some of the comments from some of you guys in the chat, just reminding us that there's not a single team in the NFL that has a perfect roster with 12 starting Pro Bowl players. It's just not how it works with a cap space. But because we've built our offensive line the way we have, it's built to carry this team. And last year, even, they only allowed 14 sacks, which was the fewest in the NFL. And Allen's sack rate was only like 2.6%, which was a league best, right? They had a pass block win rate, which was fourth in the NFL. But then the run win rate was about 17th, which frankly, it didn't really matter. Even though it was below average at 17th, it was still good enough to help James Cook get 1,700 or 1,500 yards from the line of scrimmage. But again, this protection unit is the best that Josh Allen has ever had in the era, and it's coming back with a level of consistency and without injury going into the 2025 season and going into the matchup against the Ravens, and with weapons like Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, and Josh Palmer all looking ready and being ready. He's going to get a lot of production out of these clean pockets. Josh Allen's going to throw the ball down the field and have a lot of consistency with these receivers. Again, if the line holds up, I think this year the offense is going to open up in ways that we've never seen. Again, a few days ago, I talked about how Keon Coleman and even Josh Palmer are going to open up the offensive playbook for Joe Brady and be more vertical, which we really haven't seen with a level of consistency the last couple of years. But again, the ascension of Keon Coleman and the acquisition of Josh Palmer, I think, is going to really amplify this offense to be more vertical, which again, Josh Allen has the arm to do this. And now he's got the clean pockets and the players that are the necessity to make a down the field work happen with a greater level of consistency. And again, that's just going to open up the playbook for Joe Brady and change some things. But here's the catch. While the whole offensive unit was pretty good, there was one side of the line last year that had some weak links. And in a couple moments, I'm going to tell you what those weak links were and kind of what I'm projecting this year for them. But hey, I want to look at the sack numbers even right now from the other contending AFC teams and just what that might mean for us. And let's just stack Buffalo up against them last year, where the Bills only allowed 14 sacks, the Ravens 19, the Broncos 24, the Chiefs 28, and the Bengals, of course, 41. Burrow. The longtime question is, should they have drafted Penei Sewell or Jamar Chase? Again, Jamar Chase had an insane year last year, but so did Penei Sewell on the Lions, right? Burrow hit the turf 3 times as much as Josh Allen. Mahomes was pressured double what Josh Allen faced, and nobody kept their QB cleaner than Buffalo. And again, it wasn't just luck. This was a top 3 unit in Buffalo all last year. But on most plays, Josh Allen had over 2.5 seconds of clean pocket time, which this year, again, I think is going to translate to consistent passes down the field because our wide receivers are going to get open. Their routes are going to develop way more than they ever have in the past. But we all know that sacks aren't just a stat for linemen. Again, if you've been around the NFL, listening to any pundits talk about this, they are more than just lineman stats. They are also QB stats. Pressures matter nearly just as much as sack totals do. But there's a reason that immobile quarterbacks, I think someone like Joe Burrow, gets sacked way more than Josh Allen, because Josh Allen in pressure situations isn't really uncomfortable. He can move, he can use his legs. And again, we're lucky enough to have a Goliath-sized quarterback who can escape pressure and can use his legs to turn a bad situation into a positive yardage situation, which a lot of other QBs in the NFL can't do. Those numbers, those small numbers, really add up throughout the year. But you accompany a good, consistent offensive line with a quarterback that can escape pressure, and it leads to more elite play throughout the year. But the weak link that I wanted to talk about was the right side of our offensive line with O'Cyrus Torrence and Spencer Brown. Both of them early on in the season were really, really low, even on PFF grading. The defenses attacked it. Actually, defenses stacked against it and used it to their advantage. And Josh Allen at times was kind of moved off of his spot. The pocket was collapsing on him, and it was ugly. But then something flipped about halfway through the year last year, where Spencer Brown ended up finishing with an 83+ grade, top 10 among right tackles, and even O'Cyrus Torrence steadied as well. And that side of the line went from a liability actually to a strength. But the question for 2025 was that move halfway through the season a true leap, or just was it a hot finish? Again, Brown's in a contract year. O'Cyrus Torrence is in a third year of his rookie deal. And this is a classic make it or break it for each of these guys when it comes to their contracts. And I think if they keep climbing, the Buffalo Bills line can go from great to untouchable. But quick poll, Mafia, how many sacks do you think the offensive line is going to give up in 2025? Is it below 20 like it was last year, which is insane? Or is it going to be 20 to 30 or 30 or more? But here's just a couple quick hits on our roster for the rest of this quiet monster that we've been building. Of course, we know Deion Dawkins. We know he's a top 10 left tackle in the NFL. The glue who's holding these pizza parties, getting everyone together, keeping the chemistry alive, going out to the racetrack and doing some drifting. But we've got David Edwards, 5th best guard in football last year. Connor McGovern, 6th best center, but an absolute dog for us up front. We love seeing him and his connection with Josh Allen, but our depth should be good to go going into the year. But here's the concerning thing in 2025 that I do think that no one is talking about is how rarely in the NFL we see a level of consistency with an offensive line not missing any snaps or not missing any games, really. In 2024, there was 0 games missed by our starting offensive line, which is incredibly rare. The average among teams is 10 to 20% of snap loss across an offensive line. And Buffalo Bills had 100% of their line healthy throughout the year. Yes, we had some nicks and some injuries here and there, but nothing that withheld us from consistent starts and snap counts. And so that health that was continual throughout the whole year. That's rare, and it's even fragile. And so we've got to protect that. But the one thing that I did want to talk about with depth, was that it wasn't just our starters who were getting in action last year. Joe Brady and Aaron Cromer leaned into jumbo sets consistently this last year. They had 6 offensive linemen 15% of the time, which was the most in the league. And this is really some bully ball play, right? That fueled a lot of James Cook in the red zone. It really fueled a lot of Josh Allen pushing through in the red zone as well. It gave Kincaid even blocking or disguised blocking opportunities, and just really a strong physical identity. And when they needed to close a game, this jumbo package, especially with running the ball, just absolutely dominated. It was dictating what defenses could do. Defenses had to stack the box as a result of this front. And we just had the players to consistently succeed in this. Again, I've talked about this stat before, but last year the Buffalo Bills averaged 6 yards per attempt in jumbo sets. while the league average is 3.5 yards, almost double. Joe Brady is going to use these jumbo sets again, on top of, I think, this vertical game being opened up because of the receivers we've added and the growth of Keon Coleman. And so in the winter months, when the games are cold, these jumbo sets are going to carry. But when we have to play against other teams on turf, in domes, we still have an advantage because we have a vertical game that's going to be open up. But again, this is where I think this all matters. The cleanest pocket is going to translate into wins on a Sunday, right? It could be the true X factor in the NFL. We can go toe-to-toe with anybody because of our offensive line. With matchups this year against a great deal of good defensive lines, this monster, frankly, it has to hold because our defense is going to give up points. But if Allen has time, he can go score to score with any team in the NFL. We saw this again with the Lions game last year. The Lions could not catch us. We kept scoring touchdown after touchdown. They could not stop us. Again, we've got some other good offensive lines in the AFC. We'll see how they hold up, but the Buffalo Bills are the standard. The 2025 offensive line group is building a legacy of its own. Don't forget that iron sharpens iron, and in practice, this offensive line is battling against Joey Bosa, Greg Rousseau, Deion Walker, Daquan Jones, TJ Sanders, Landon Jackson every single day, and this is the kind of daily grind that prepares you and sharpens you for Sunday football. So here's the big question, Bills Mafia. Will this offensive line stay a monster in 2025, or will we be underestimating how fragile the offensive line really is, and will we hit injuries or regression? Drop your thoughts below. I'll be in the comments right there with you, because if this group repeats in 2024, it's not just Josh Allen's best chance to re-win the MVP for a second consecutive year. It is going to be the Buffalo Bills' chance to be a monster in January, pushing through to raise the Lombardi in February. But hey, I'm Colin. This is Crack the Table. If you got any sense of value or joy or perspective from a video like this, just hit the like and subscribe. Join this community. I'll be right there with you in the comments. I'll answer any questions, any comments that you have there. But have a good day and just enjoy today. It's Saturday. Enjoy cheering on your favorite college football team. And I'll see you tomorrow. Go Bills.